It's been a long time coming for this one. This is Black Sabbath, Paranoid, as you can see, and this is one that I've had a hard time getting this one, and it's one of the ones that I've wanted to do for the longest time, and I finally got it. Now, what happened with getting this record, and I'm excited to talk about this one. This has always been on Amazon, my source for all my records, more or less. But it was always just way too expensive. And then I remembered a place, and I'm getting right to this if you notice. No preamble today. And I remember this place called CD Universe, or cduniverse.com. I've been buying CDs from there since like 1999. And I'd kind of forgotten about them. And I had ordered a bunch of CDs from there like 3 or 4 years ago or something. And I ordered them, and because they came they were supposed to come just regular mail, not Amazon, they don't have a dedicated delivery service. They don't use a courier. They just send it through the postal system. And I never got them. Luckily for me, I was going to Arizona sometime shortly after. So I called them and I said, I have to cancel this order. And then I remembered, because it didn't show up. And then I remembered I was going to Arizona. I said, what, can you? And they said, do you want us to resend these or give you a refund? And I said, well, a refund, because I said, they're not gonna come at this point. I mean, if you resend them. And so I said, hey, can you send them to? I'm going to Arizona in a couple of weeks. Can you send them? And they said yes. So they did, and I got those CDs in Arizona 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. And so I'd forgotten about CD Universe in these years. So when there were two, I was trying to get Paranoid and Master of Reality. Those are the only two I needed to complete my Black Sabbath record collection. I don't need anything else beyond the first 6. And so I thought I'll check CD Universe, because both of them were way too expensive on Amazon. Paranoid and Master of Reality. So I checked CD Universe, and both of them were a pretty good price. Less than I was willing to pay. This was maybe in July, I think, mid-July, and now we're in, what's today? September 30th, October 1st, something like that. And so I ordered them in whatever it was, July. Same thing happened. They just never came. They were supposed to come. I think the window for them to come was going to be, I don't know, by the end of August or something like that. And they never came. So I had to call them again to, get my money back. Much easier to deal with them than Amazon, maybe surprisingly. But so that's twice, and I don't blame CD Universe. I blame the Mexican postal system, which is essentially a guy on a donkey towing a cart behind him. Very unreliable. Now, luckily, and strangely, I've talked about this before with Amazon, sometimes the prices go way down or they go way up. Luckily, around the same time, I saw only Paranoid for about 40% less than it had been previously on Amazon. So it had been canceled from CD Universe, and I will get to the album, I promise. So I didn't get it from CD Universe, but I was able to order it from Amazon. Master of Reality is still way too expensive for my taste for me to buy on Amazon. So that's one of the ones. Well, I'll get to. I was gonna say something else. I'll get to that. So I still have to wait for Master of Reality, but today I'll talk about Paranoid. And this was one of the ones that I've wanted to get when I kind of first started buying these albums 5 or however many months ago it was. There were a bunch that I wanted. The ones that I still want, that they're just too expensive, are Master of Reality. Rain and Blood is way too expensive, but I really want it, but I'm not going to pay 900 and something pesos for it. There's Orgasmatron, Motorhead. I really want that one, but it's way too expensive. And I don't know, I think there's 1 or 2 other ones, but I finally got Paranoid. This came maybe 2 weeks ago, and I finally got around to talking about it now. And that's what I'm about to do, minus this 4-minute garbage talk that I'm just finishing up. So Paranoid, this is a huge, massive, big album for me. I've said this about a few. This is possibly the first record that I ever got, outside of a Kiss record, the first rock or metal album that I ever got, other than a Kiss record. As far as I can remember, I got Paranoid, and here it is here. It's still packaged up. I got this originally, the record. As far as I can remember, it was this or Back in Black that I got in 1980. Before that, I had Kiss records. I had the Bee Gees' Greatest Hits double record. I had a bunch of 45 singles. I maybe had some kids records, like those K-Tel compilation albums or something. But I got Paranoid, I think it was around the same time as Back in Black. I'm not sure which was first. But so, so I was 10 years old at this time. And when you, at this time, Paranoid was already 10 years old, as was I. But that was a big deal to listen to a record like Paranoid at this time, or at that time in 1980 when I was 10 years old, I guess. And I loved it. This album scared me, really, when I was a kid. Now, Black Sabbath had these kind of subtitled songs, right? Like it was Jack the Stripper / War Pigs, or was it War Pigs Jack the Stripper? I can't remember. Rat Salad? I thought, what is a rat salad? That was terrifying. And Fairies Wear Boots also, what is Fairies Wear Boots? And Hand of Doom and Electric Funeral. And this album was really scary for me. And then when I bought the record, and it was, obviously I bought the record first before I knew the song titles, open it up and there was that big gatefold, which, by the way, I hope this is. Now this says Paranoid 2016 Remaster. And I will trust that it is this one. I haven't opened it yet just because I got it recently. So if it is the wrong one, Amazon has been good since all their crap 3 months ago. They haven't made any mistakes. So this is the only one. I don't really care about gatefolds or colored vinyl or things like that. This is maybe the only one that I really want the gatefold of. I assume all the editions of it have it, because there was, I guess, a 2016 version and there was a Rhino version, which I think this is, and a Warner Brothers version. I'm not sure. But this is one that I really want for the gatefold, to have those memories come rushing back for me. So I opened this when I was 10 years old, and it had the gatefold. It's the four of them. It's that black and white photo. Ozzy is, I guess, standing on the right side of the gatefold, or was it left or right? I can't remember. The other three are, Ozzy is standing, the other three, which way is that? I can't remember. The other three are standing or sitting in the grass. I think maybe Tony is standing and Bill and Geezer are sitting. I can't remember. But seeing that, and Ozzy or Tony, one of them, maybe both of them had that big cross. And it was all just very scary for me as a 10-year-old kid. And then listening to the lyrics, Satan laughing spreads his wings, and Hell's Angels flap their wing. That was in Satan laughing was in War Pigs, and Hell's Angels flap their wings in Electric Funeral. And just this album was very scary for me. I'm very, very to have it back now. I'm gonna open it right now and go through it. And before I do, I just thought of one other thing I would point out. It probably is. I've always considered this my favorite Black Sabbath record, almost by default. It was the first one, and it was the one that made me a Black Sabbath fan, and really, in some respects, a heavy metal fan. Although Kiss had planted that seed 4 years prior. But I don't know. After I've done these videos, I've talked about the first record. Volume 4, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Sabotage, and now I'm talking about Paranoid. So I've listened to all those records recently, and I'm not sure if I still have to, this is very important stuff, by the way, I still have to consider Paranoid my favorite just for, nostalgic purposes or timeline purposes. But listening to all of those records, kind of close together over the last 2 months or so, I'm not sure. It could be... I don't know. It's definitely not the first one, and it's not Sabotage either. I mean, Master of Reality in Volume 4 and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Those are all good. But for now, I'll say that Paranoid is indeed my favorite Black Sabbath record, and I'm going to open it right now. And it is a gatefold. All right, that's good. It says it's got the Warner Records. Let me put this over here. No hype sticker on here. I think Volume 4 was the only one that had a hype sticker in these Black Sabbath records that I bought. It's a Warner Rhino, so I guess it's like Warner is the record company and Rhino is the label. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, there it is. No hype sticker, no nothing. And as you can see, it's a gatefold. Now while I'll talk about this album cover. When I got this and I was 10 years old, I swear that, and I don't know if I actually thought this was him or if I thought that this guy looked like him. For me, when I was 10 years old, this was Billy Joel. And I don't know if I explained that properly. I don't know if I really thought, wow, they got Billy Joel to do the cover of Paranoid. I was 10 years old. What do you want? Or if I thought, wow, the guy on the cover of Paranoid, I don't know who he is, but he really looks like Billy Joel. But I always thought that this guy either looked like or was Billy Joel. For all I know, it is. I don't know. And you probably know this album was supposed to originally be called War Pigs. And it's hard to rewrite history. What's his face? Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And you think, retrospectively or retroactively, I always get those two confused. Retrospectively, you think, oh, there's no way that could have been anybody but Harrison Ford. So you kind of think, well, retrospectively, this album couldn't be called anything but Paranoid. No, it could be. I think War Pigs would have been a way, way, way better title for this record. I think it would have just been more captivating. It just would have, I think, hit harder. It doesn't really change anything. But yeah, the artwork, or not the artwork, the cover photo for Paranoid, it just, I don't know. But, and again, talking about the other Black Sabbath records, they never really had a true logo. I don't really consider this a logo. Maybe, I've got my Black Sabbath shoes. I don't know if you can see them, but I've got those. I love that. This Black Sabbath logo, that's my favorite. All right, so I'm going to cut this open. I put my knife away without thinking. I think it's because I'm so excited that I'm not really aware of any movements that I'm making. I don't even, I don't even need it because this has a little tear on it, so I can just do this. Remember the thrill of opening records when you were a kid? If you're old enough, maybe you remember that. And as far as I know, this is just regular black vinyl. Again, I don't care. I really do want the gatefold for this one. Of all the ones I've bought, the 5 of the 6 first Black Sabbath albums, this is the only one, Sabotage was the only one that wasn't a gatefold. I think that's because the version I got was, I think it did come in a gatefold, but I got the different version. I don't care about this, but this I want, and here it is. You can be the first to see it before me. Where's Ozzy? Is Ozzy on the left or the right? I can't remember. I think Ozzy is over on this side. Oh, I was wrong. Ozzy is on the other side. So yeah, it is Ozzy with the big cross, and it is Bill sitting in the grass, and a mustacheless Tony Iommi. And God, these guys look like real hippies. And God, isn't that an imposing figure? Look at Ozzy standing there with that giant cross. He's looking down on you. As he should do. That's what Ozzy's doing. Oh, and let me see the insert. Now, when I had this record when I was a kid, I hated that the inner sleeve was just that plastic, that opaque kind of plastic cellophane. Oh, this is better. All right, let's see. Oh, this has, I had another Black Sabbath record that was like this. I can't remember which one. So they put, for all the nerds, they put for safety or for, not safety, for, I guess to prevent people from having to do a deep cleaning, they put the actual record in this, and then they give you a separate sleeve for the record. Oh, this is that's a lot of text. Look at this. That's going to take me a month to read all that, and a magnifying glass. Look at it. Ah, cool. All right, better than I thought. So I can put this back in now, and. No, I'll leave it there for now. I'll just go with this. Let me take a look at the gatefold. Album design and photography by Keith. I do remember that. This really takes me back. Man, 1980 I had this record. What's that? 43 years ago. Amazing. And I don't need the record for this. The track listing. It's War Pigs, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, Iron Man, and then side 2 would be Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Rat Salad, Fairies Wear Boots. And this does not have those weird subtitles. Wheels of Confusion, The Straightener, remember on Volume 4? All right. So the first one is is War Pigs, and I'm going to make a strong case for War Pigs being the greatest heavy metal song ever. You may think that that's a contradiction because I've said that maybe Rime of the Ancient Mariner is my favorite, or for me the greatest song ever in the history of recorded music. But I mean, as a heavy metal, like the origins, the roots of heavy metal, you could say the first, the song Black Sabbath, the first song from the first album. But oh my God, War Pigs, and I think probably at some point I did get tired of it. But this is one that I've rediscovered in the last 10 years or so. I don't know, maybe 15 years. I can listen to this song again and again and again. Probably back in the 90s. I don't remember it. I probably never listened to it by choice. I was so tired of it at that point. If it came on, if you were at a party or in someone's car or wherever, and it came on, you would, it would be okay. War Pigs. But I get excited over hearing War Pigs now. It's just a perfect song. It's just so heavy and so dark, and it's a perfect song. Everything about it is great. That is true. That's the epitome, I think, of heavy metal. Not the first one, not the first heavy metal song. That was the song Black Sabbath. But really, War Pigs, really, how could that not be considered the greatest? Not your personal favorite or my personal favorite, but just the essence of heavy metal, I would say, is War Pigs. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. Now, next is Paranoid. Now, this one I did get sick of, and I like Paranoid well enough. But, it's their signature song. It's a song that they've closed all their shows with over the last, I don't know how many years, I think, at least with Ozzy. And I like it, but I don't think it's deserving to be their signature song. I can understand if, Master of Puppets is Metallica. Even I can understand if people say Enter Sandman is Metallica's signature song, and I can see Slayer having Angel of Death as their signature song. But really, Paranoid and Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss too, to me those are not signature songs. I know they are, but they don't, to me they don't really represent what the band is all about. Am I making myself clear? I feel like I'm not, but hopefully you understand if you've watched these first 9 minutes, 11 minutes, however long it's been. Now, you could also say, by rule, Paranoid, the song, is filler because they literally needed, everybody knows this, they needed, the record company said, we need to fill this album out by a few more minutes. So they quickly wrote Paranoid and stuck it on the album, and hey, look what happened. That's really the definition of filler. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. Paranoid is true filler. All right. Next is Planet Caravan. I didn't like this that much when I was a kid. I didn't like that, the effect on Ozzy's voice, that kind of underwater, weird effect on his voice. That just, I don't know. And maybe also because it wasn't like a heavy metal song. It wasn't maybe what I wanted from Black Sabbath at that time. I love it now. Planet Caravan is great. I still, and there's an alternate version of it. There's been many versions of Paranoid, including like one of these deluxe bonus legacy, reissue, remaster, remix, expanded, anniversary, whatever they call it, editions. And, they've had lots of B-sides, and there's an alternate version of Planet Caravan, which I like better. The lyrics are different, but it doesn't have the effect on Ozzy's voice. But I really, really like that song now. I think, and I don't want to get ahead of myself and talk about Master of Reality too much. This was basically kind of like a prelude to, or you could say that Solitude from Master of Reality was really like part 2 of Planet Caravan. I like Solitude way better. I think Solitude is a fucking awesome song. Way, way better than Planet Caravan. But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. And speaking of, Down, and I really love Down, especially Nola, and they have a song called Jail on Nola, which was really, to me, I think it was a pretty obvious, not a ripoff, because I love Jail. Really almost like a tribute to, I don't know if that was their intention, but it's really like a tribute, I think, to Planet Caravan. Very mellow, a real... A real weed-smoking song, Jail and Planet Caravan, and Solitude for that matter. Yeah, Planet Caravan gets my seal of approval. The last song is Iron Man. I love Iron Man. Maybe some of you are sick of it. This is another one I don't know if I ever got sick of. And I'm sure I can say, I would even say 100% certainty. Let's say 99%. Nobody ever says 98 or 97. They always say 99 or 100. This was the first Black Sabbath song that I ever heard, and I heard it on the radio, and it was one of those songs, there were a few back then, for me in the early days, in the early 80s, that when I heard these songs on the radio, I just got so excited. I just like was enthralled with these songs. I Love It Loud, a couple years later, was one. Come On Feel the Noise, a year after, was another one. But when Iron Man came on the radio, Dance the Night Away by Van Halen was another one. When Iron Man came on the radio, again, I was, I guess, 10 years old when I heard it. And I can remember this because I remember where I lived at the time in 1980 in Montreal. Or no, at that time I had just moved to Toronto with my family, of course. I wasn't moving by myself when I was 10 years old. But just, hearing that as a 10-year-old kid, the I Am Iron Man with that distorted effect on Ozzy's voice and that slow, and even at the time, I knew that was heavy. I don't know if I said the word heavy, but to me that was heavy. It was dark lyrically. Fills his victims full of dread. Running as fast as they can, Iron Man lives again. Heavy boots of lead fills his victims full of dread. Running as fast as they can. Well, I can't remember the lyrics. God, I've heard it 8 million times. But heavy song, not just musically, but lyrically, just the tone of it. Iron Man is a great song. I love Iron Man as much as any Black Sabbath song. Deserves to be, for me, that's maybe more their signature song, much more than Paranoid. Next side, if you flipped it over, you would get wow, 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 wow. You would get Electric Funeral. Oh, this album gets better. I think side 2 is better. You have Rat Salad, which kind of, it's an instrumental. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to get ahead of myself, although I am. Rat Salad and on side 2 and Planet Caravan on side 1 kind of cancel each other out because they're different. But the three, if you compare War Pigs, Paranoid, and Iron Man with Electric Funeral on the first side, and then unless on the second side, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, and Fairies Wear Boots, I think I would go with the second side. So Electric Funeral, oh my God, just so heavy. And again, lyrically, an Electric Funeral, reflex in the sky, warns you you're gonna die. Just really dark for 10 years old, amazing. And then that middle part, nobody ever really talks about. We always, I think, as metal fans or as Black Sabbath fans, we talk about the riffs like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath or Sweetleaf or I don't know, Into the Void or something. But that middle part of Electric Funeral, and then the drums come in. It's that kind of that double time fast. Oh, amazing. Oh, love Electric Funeral. Next would be Hand of Doom. Oh, maybe that's even better than Electric Funeral. These are all pretty much equal songs, I would say, except for Paranoid and maybe Planet Caravan, which I still love. Hand of Doom, it's got that really quiet, gentle bass. Almost inaudible if you have the volume down low enough. And then it just comes in. What You Gonna Do, Time's Caught Up With You. And Ozzy's delivery in that song is just so dark again, so mournful or so serious. What You Gonna Do, Time's Caught Up With You. What you gonna do, time's caught up with you. Now you wait your turn, time's caught up. God, I can't remember the lyrics now. And then down. Amazing song. Oh, Hand of Doom. Maybe, I can't say it's my favorite because that's got to be War Pigs. But Hand of Doom. And also a Hand of Doom. Is it Hand of Doom? Yeah, it is. That middle part. You're having a good time, baby, but that won't last. That's like maybe the heaviest Black Sabbath thing ever, and it's not really a riff. It's just this pounding. You're having a good time, baby. That's I mean, I've never thought about it, but just thinking about it now and playing it in my head, is that like the best little musical section of Black Sabbath in any song? I don't know. I'll say for now it is. Oh, and what's after Hand of Doom? Oh, Rat Salad. Now, it's been established I don't really like instrumentals that much, but I don't care. This one is so good that I don't even care. To me, Rat Salad is it's not an instrumental. It's a great song. Not only an instrumental, it's an instrumental that turns into a drum solo. I guess at that time, Led Zeppelin had Moby Dick, which was also a song like a jam, and then it became a drum solo, which is what Rat Salad is, although Moby Dick is maybe a couple of minutes longer than Rat Salad. And I think this is maybe what Peter Criss wanted to do. Maybe everybody knows that Peter Criss wanted to do, according to Paul and Gene, who I think have never said an honest word in their lives, they said that Peter wanted to record a drum solo during Strange Ways. It was going to be like a 7 or 8 or 9 minute drum solo, and Peter said, if we don't do this drum solo in the song, I'm going to quit the band. And they talked him out of it. I don't know, so maybe this was a thing at the time, but drum solo or not, Rat Salad is a great song. Yeah, I love Rat Salad. Which brings me to the last song, which is Fairies Wear Boots. And putting aside War Pigs, which I have to put in its own category just because it's, as I said, the greatest heavy metal song ever. Maybe aside from that, Fairies Wear Boots, I think that's maybe my favorite. And also it's got that quiet intro, similar to Hand of Doom. And then it gets kind of funky. It's got a real groove to it. And now that's morphing into Moby Dick again. Oh God, I'm trying to get out of here, Moby Dick. God, I'm still going back to Moby Dick. I have to clean my ears and my brain out. But that kind of groovy, real swing part in Fairies Wear Boots, amazing. And I thought, fairies with boots, they're dancing with the dwarfs. Very strange to hear that again when you're 10 years old. So that's it. I think I got maybe a little bit too excited with that, but as I said, I was very excited to talk about this. This is a masterpiece. This is really, this should be considered, not just in my opinion. This is like, and I would say even more than the first album. The first album was more like the original heavy metal album. This is like the blueprint of, I don't know how heavy metal should be. Maybe this and Master of Puppets should be considered the top two, the greatest heavy metal albums ever. What else is there really? I don't know, but that's it. I'm really, really excited to have. To some extent, obviously, I'm excited to get all these records, but this one I'm especially excited about, and that is all for Black Sabbath, Paranoid.